Welcome, everyone, to Let's Get Intimate. Today, we are going to be talking about a very trending topic. The topic is embodiment. And here we're going to be talking to Jocelyn because she is our expert. So, hello, Jocelyn.
Hey, well, we're going to make it a discussion, right? We're just going to talk about embodiment because this is also something that you're into. And this is a big part of just being connected to the feminine, right? I mean, I think a lot of times when we hear people talk about the feminine, they're also talking about embodiment and it feels interchangeable. It's just wording and what we're comfortable with, I think. Maybe you would disagree, but yeah, so we're just going to talk. We're going to talk about what is embodiment and why is it important? What do we get out of it? And what does it look like? How does it feel to be embodied? And why is this something that is trending? Right?
Yes, I feel like every other Facebook or Instagram post is not like in my algorithms. It comes up and people like this topic comes up, like embodiment. So, I had to look it up, on the dictionary, try to figure out what it was. Because when I first heard about it, I felt very confused. But what is embodiment to you, Jocelyn?
To me, being embodied is being connected to your body. And when I say that, I mean it's like having a connection to anything, having a deep relationship, a listening relationship to it's the same as having a relationship with a person. You listen, you feel them, you focus on intimacy with them. And what does that look like to be intimate with another person? How does it feel to be intimate with another person? That's embodiment to me, is you have the ability to listen to the messages of your body, understand the language that it speaks, how it communicates, because all bodies communicate differently. How does your body communicate? What is its language? Can you understand the language? Can you listen? And can you be guided? Or can you allow yourself to surrender to the guidance of those messages? And can you trust your body? Can you trust those messages? Versus, yeah, I feel this way, but logically, that doesn't make sense. Well, letting logic be put aside and trusting that your body has the higher wisdom and being intimate with your body and knowing what intimacy actually is. Because I think there are lots of different types of intimacy, but for me, intimacy is an embodied experience. It is an energetic connection, a deepening with another being, whether it's nature or a friend or an intimate partner. But the ability to energetically become one with that other being, to me, that is intimacy and that is an embodied experience. So I think it's really important to be embodied because this this human experience is our vessel. Our vessel is our body. Our vessel in the human experience is our body. Why else are we here? You know, some people may say we're here to have power, we're here to make money, we're here to do this, blah, 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 blah. And sure, maybe. I mean, we definitely have more power, I think, outside of the body. But either way, all of those things that people think of why we're here, we are still first and foremost in the human body. And the human body is what moves us in the world to do those things. And so having trust in the one thing that's holding us here in this world and allowing that to move us is embodiment. And I think that for me, I know everyone sees it differently. That's how I move in the world. And that's how I feel like why am I here? Well, I'm here to be a human and to be connected to planet Earth and the mother. And so how will I live in that way? What about you? What is your experience of embodiment? How did you feel like when you felt the call to embodiment? What was that for you?
I mean, for me, it's a little different. And for me, it was more about finding ways to connect to my emotions and my feelings. Because sometimes we are taught to suppress emotions and feelings, especially if you are a quote unquote good girl or a people pleaser. And for me, being embodied was giving myself permission to tap back into my body, to listen to those uh, emotions, and to find healthy ways of expressing them, either through movement, vocalization, um, singing, dancing, just finding different ways that I could channel that in a healthy way. So I think it's somewhat similar, but still different. So for me, it's not so much as a finding a connection or finding intimacy with something. It's more of uh, making sure that these emotions aren't stuck in my body and creating disease and illness and all sorts of other things
Yeah.
that could potentially be damaging.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, that's great. And then on the upside of it, what is the, and in your experience of embodiment is not only so you don't get disease growing, but then what's the win? What are you getting out of it?
I'm getting self-validation. I'm getting self-acknowledgement. I'm getting like, yeah, I'm gonna feel these feelings. And I don't give a crap or whatever of who care. Like I'm not focused on someone else. I'm caring about
Mm,
other people's reactions because I'm finding ways. This is my way of self-care,
yeah.
like tapping into my body, making sure that I'm feeling these feelings and not suppressing them because I went for years suppressing feelings, suppressing my emotions to the point where I got into a mild depression because I
Yeah.
was afraid to feel. And what happens when you're afraid to feel is I became very numb, very apathetic and very numb. And that is not fun.
Mm,
That
yeah.
is not fun.
Yeah.
So finding ways to have somatic releases. And for me, I use the Qigong energy, especially when it comes to the energy body. It felt very cathartic and very heart opening because now I was allowing myself and giving myself permission to like, it's okay to feel this. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. Do you understand? So
Yes.
that has helped me in that way.
Yeah. I love that. And same for me. I was doing a lot of suppressing through drugs and alcohol throughout my 20s, and it's painful to after a certain amount of time, right? Like trying to suppress what you're feeling is not actually suppressing what you're feeling. It's just you have to drink more and then drink more and more and more. And then it becomes more expensive. And then you run out of money. And it's just like this downward spiral until you hit rock bottom and you start making really bad decisions. And it's like, how is this more painful?
It's almost, and you also feel guilt, right? Because you feel guilt of spending the money and
Oh,
it's just like a spiral, downward spiral.
yeah, it's guilt about everything. Guilt about how you end up making people feel, the things that you do, trying to find the right people that are like, oh, I don't even remember what happened. You're like, oh, good. I don't have to feel guilty about that kind of, and it's just, yeah, you end up suppressing more yucky feelings versus and it's so funny because I was always doing yoga throughout all of this. So for some people, yoga saved them. But for me, yoga, I think maybe kept my head a little bit above water, maybe like at the nose level. But if anything, it was like, I don't want to feel those things. I want to feel how good it feels to stretch my body. I want to feel the pride in my ability to sit still during meditation. I want to feel the pride in how good I look during yoga because I'm so good at it. And everyone tells me how beautiful my yoga practice is. I want to feel that, but I don't want to feel my own emotions. So for me, I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, I am embodied, my embodiment practice is yoga." But for me, I'm thinking, well, what's one step further? What is your experience when you're still? What is your experience when you're not trying to make your body look a certain way. A lot of people will say, oh, I look terrible when I'm doing yoga. That's great. What is your experience when you're dancing and you're not trying to look a certain way, but you're just moving your arms? What's your experience when you move your fingers in a way that you've never moved them before, right? Like actually experiencing your body versus just trying to look a certain way or just trying to attain something through your body. And so I think that gets confusing with embodiment also, versus like what you're doing is I'm going to feel this energy that's inside me right now that doesn't feel good, but I know I'm going to feel better if I do some practice that helps it move through my body. And maybe in the process of it moving through my body, it might feel a little bit worse. But someone who's a seasoned practitioner also knows that that feeling is going to last 30 seconds, maybe. And then after it moves, I'm going to feel so much more clear. I'm going to feel so good. Maybe it'll last 90 seconds versus the whole day.
Right, right. And I'm like you in the sense that we've talked about this in a previous episode, using the breath.
Mm-hmm.
In one of our previous episodes, you actually gave me a session, like an embodiment session. And a lot of that was following my breath. And I have used that. And that is such a great tool to really use that to connect to your body and to like, use it, move it, and play with that energetically. So, yeah, I like using that tool.
Yeah, thanks. And it's funny, I was talking to my sister once and she said she went to, I don't remember where she was, but her and her husband watched this guy give a talk and he was demonstrating how you can breathe through your body. And he showed them as he was breathing into his leg, and they could actually see his, maybe I think it was his calf, like slightly expanding and then coming back and expanding. And my sister's not into any of this stuff. She's starting to be, but she was like, it was crazy. Like you could see his calf breathing. I'm like, yes, yes, this is amazing. And and I think the advantage of being able to do that is just understanding that, like how powerful your breath is. Your breath, if it's hard for you to grasp the energetic body or that our bodies are energy, then just being able to see something like that, being able to see that your breath is so powerful that if there's some energy stuck in some part of your body, your breath can move it. And I think that for a lot of people, even like people who aren't even into the woo stuff, who just like to get massages, which who doesn't, right? That's enough for them to say, okay, maybe having a connection to my body would be beneficial for me. And then maybe I could stop doing the things that I do that are unhealthy. And it's not a matter of who says it's unhealthy. You know what your patterns are that are unhealthy because they're the things that you do that you don't like. That they're the things that you do that don't feel good and you wish you could stop doing them, right?
Totally. I totally I get it. But one of the things I wanted your take on is, what do you believe are the benefits of embodiment?
Well, I can just go back into my blog that I recently wrote and tell you what the benefits are. Um, but one benefit to start with that I know a lot of people will relate to is boundaries. Being embodied supports having healthier boundaries. And I want to say strong boundaries, but I like to say healthy boundaries because sometimes, especially when we're in the beginning of creating boundaries for ourselves, we put up really strong boundaries that are too strong. It's too much. And then when we feel like we have to assert our boundaries, we do it and we feel like we have to pull out this strength and then it doesn't necessarily feel good and people don't respond really well to them because it's coming from the mind versus when I'm in my body and I am, asserting my boundaries or, sticking within my boundaries, it doesn't feel like effort. It's not some strength that I have to pull out because I just come into my body. I feel my body. I feel the body of the person that I'm with if I'm having to assert my boundary with them, or if I'm just having to assert my boundary within myself. Either way, I come into my body and allow my body to relax into what I'm needing for myself, because that's where our boundaries come from, right? What am I needing? And I feel ease in moving in whatever direction is necessary. So I think embodiment is really powerful in helping us to create more healthy boundaries for ourselves and to stay within those boundaries that we know will make us feel more joy and happiness in our lives.
Mm.
Have you had that experience also? Or what is your experience with boundaries and
Yes, I
embodiment?
mean, because the more you feel yourself, again, it's like for me, it's like having that permission to feel. And once you know what you're feeling and what you're needing, then I feel like you're able to really verbalize that because now you've given it validation. Now you've acknowledged it. Now it's become clear. For a lot of us, when you're not connected to your body, there's a lot of things that are not clear. And some people
Mhm.
don't know what they're feeling. You know what I mean? So when you learn how to tap into your body and you get a sense of what you're feeling and you really uh, become an expert in that and tapping in, then it becomes easier to state your boundaries. It becomes easier to express your need,
Right,
right? And
right.
to even express your need from a place of love, from an open heart, rather than from aggression.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly it. Because when you're expressing your need from a place of love, people feel that also. You feel it within yourself. And this expression, also being embodied, means that you are in touch with your different chakras, your places of being locked. And for me, I was really locked in my throat. And the more I would do practices to feel my body and connect to my body, I would do practice. I felt called and moved into doing practices to open my throat. And that gave me a better ability to express myself. So that's another benefit, self expression. Where is your voice, finding who you are when you are not locked up in the throat, and the confidence and the strength that comes out when we are able to more clearly express ourselves, when our voice isn't cracking, when we feel nervous, when we can just say who we are and present ourselves truthfully. So let's see, another benefit, greater awareness and presence in the world. Um, like I said earlier, you having a more intimate connections with others, with your um, intimate partner, having a more passionate, deeper intimacy in your relationship,
Mm.
um, developing deeper clarity and making decisions. This is a big one actually, because my clients spend a lot of time going back and forth between things. Should I leave my marriage? Is it him? Is he the problem? Am I the problem? Was this? And then just like going down this rabbit hole of thoughts and stories and memories. And it just gets so messy. And for one, memory is unreliable. So when we're making decisions based on, well, this happened when I did this, your memory is unreliable because you can't remember everything exactly the way it was. And not only that, but what other factors were happening that you were not aware of.
Right.
And so the best way to make a decision is to come into your body, build your relationship with your body and with your senses so that you can feel the world more clearly and that you can feel your guidance more clearly and you can move with more confidence and trusting your intuition. And all of these things are going to be helpful factors in making decisions. And sure, life becomes a little more scary. You have to, have a little more courage. But then you start doing courageous things and your life becomes more creative and beautiful and exciting. And this is all because you're feeling more versus the same thing over and over and over again, and then making decisions based on the same things that you've always done, which keeps you in a very safe place. But the problem is a lot of my clients have kept themselves in a safe place and then they're unhappy and they don't know why. And then they don't know who to blame. And then there's a lot of shame and it just goes deeper, deeper, deeper. And then they
Oh,
read a bunch
wow.
of self-help books. But really it just come into the body first, right? Just so what is that? How you said, "Oh wow, what are you thinking?"
No, like you said, they're when they're like blaming their husbands or, trying to decide if they want to stay in their marriage or not, that those are pretty big decisions,
Yeah,
scary decisions, life-altering decisions.
right.
Um, so yeah, I do believe that it's super important to tap into your body. And the thing is, we're not taught this. And as the feminine, as the woman, I feel like we lose that, as we grow. I think by the age of what, maybe 7, we tend to lose a lot of these gifts that we have when we're children, when we're just carefree and we're more ex naturally more expressive, we're more tapped in. And then we wonder why, as adults, we have trouble feeling certain
Mm-hmm.
things, right? So I'm glad that people are becoming more self-aware and they're now looking for these tools to tap in and they're researching, they're reading up on it, and they're realizing the importance of what it is to be embodied. And you actually have a course out that gives you a few of these exercises.
Yeah, I have a couple. I have one course that's an introduction to embodiment practices. And there's 6 practices where we work with the voice. I do a guided breath meditation. We do a dance movement practice, and I teach you how to give yourself a yoni massage. I teach you how to do breast massage. And I also teach you how to massage your hips. And the reason why you massage your hips is because I was a massage therapist and I will tell you everything goes to the hips. It is just that place. You may even notice if you're brushing your teeth or you're having a conversation, you're squeezing your butt. Why are you squeezing your butt?
Right, right.
So, and those are just practices to help you start to feel your body, help you start to move in a way that is different. And then I have another course that has 4 practices that is more for people who can follow a guided meditation, who have done some embodiment in their lives. So it's not so foreign. And there's 2 guided meditations where we work with the breath and we work with the heart. And then there's 2 movement practices. And yeah, and then I also do one-on-one coaching, which is completely different than my courses because with the one-on-one coaching, I am connecting to my body, to my guidance, connecting to your guidance so that you can connect to your guidance. And then I'm helping you move through your body to find out what is going on in there. And it's really amazing to see what people's bodies tell them. And then where they go, how their week ends or where they go from there. Yeah, so I teach embodiment. I feel safer in the world knowing there are more people who can connect to their bodies. I think that we are more intuitive, we're more receptive, and being receptive, being able to surrender, I think is really important because this world gives so much. And rather than living in a way where we feel like we have to attain, obtain, gain, even attract, right? So many of us are just trying to attract and to manifest, but really we're just trying to get and take versus just coming in a place of receptivity and not obviously not just like sitting back and doing nothing. That's not receptivity, but coming to a place of receptivity where we can really come into our bodies to soften and let everything that's blocking us, all of the intergenerational stuff, all of the past traumas, everything that holds us in this way of living where we're just moving around the world in the same way, not evolving, and learning to let that stuff go and to soften and to melt away and feeling. I used to feel like I walked around with an armoring around my body, holding me in, and I could feel it so heavy and so tight. And the more I did this work, the more consistently and the more committed I was, I felt it start to fall off. And when we can do that and we feel our bodies more softer, then we can receive and things can come in. And we can see like, oh, this is a chance for me to receive something. And we can catch ourselves when someone offers you something and you say, oh, no, no, it's okay. And then like, stop, wait. Yeah, yes, yes. And thank you, like that, being able to catch ourselves. And then we get to a point where we don't have to catch ourselves, but we just recognize something as some gift and we accept it with gratitude. And gratitude is, I think, is gratitude and embodiment for me are so connected.
I also feel like it's, and you've touched on this, but I feel like for me, it's bringing balance to the world because we're connecting to the world rather than taking from it. We're like tapping in and just really being at one with the world, with Mama Gaia, right? Because she's
Yeah.
very feminine, a very feminine planet. Um, so yeah, I love the fact that for me, this is it brings us into a state of balance as human beings with the planet.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. And when you say that, I'm thinking, yeah, that's why I feel safer in the world when I know people are embodied because there is more balance. I can trust that these are balanced people and that they are bringing back, giving back to Mama Gaia what she's given us.
Totally.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
So thank you guys for joining us on this episode. And if you have any questions, you can check out our websites and our information. All of it will be in the show notes. So you guys can come check us out and yeah, keep in touch. And
uh,
until next time, until we see you in our next episode, goodbye.
bye. Thank you for coming.